Hi, I'm Robert Naini, your spray foam advisor, and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. You know, I wear the Hawaiian shirt as a symbol of freedom and flexibility, something that all business owners should want to achieve. And one of my goals is to help 100 spray foam business owners set up their business in a way that gets them that freedom and flexibility that they're looking for. This includes providing spray foam training, education, tips and tricks, business fundamentals, and even coaching and consulting services.
Today, I want to talk about the details and specifics of when you can use an ignition barrier for spray foam insulation or foam plastic materials in accordance with the building code. This topic comes up all the time. I get questions from homeowners, builders, architects, contractors, and SPF applicators on a regular basis about this topic. We know the building code starts by requiring thermal barriers for all foam plastic insulation, but there are several exceptions to the thermal barrier requirement. The one exception that we deal with the most is attics and crawl spaces. Both the IRC and IBC say that when access to the attic or crawl space is limited to the service of utilities, an ignition barrier is acceptable for fire protection over the foam. Basically, the code is saying that if the only reason to go into the attic or crawl space in question is servicing the utilities, such as working on the HVAC system, working on a light bulb, working on wires, etc. If the only purpose for going into the attic or crawl space is the service of utilities, then an ignition barrier is an acceptable form of fire protection for all foam plastic in that space. The code says that under these circumstances, the foam plastic insulation must be covered in such a way that it is not exposed to the attic by an ignition barrier material. And the code describes several specific ignition barrier materials. The code then goes on to provide exceptions and directs us to the special approval section of the code, which allows us to do special large-scale tests, like the Appendix X test, which is how we get many spray foam products approved without an additional fire protection because the spray foam products passed a large-scale test. As soon as access goes beyond service of utilities, for example, when we use an attic for storage purposes, then an ignition barrier is not sufficient and a thermal barrier is required. What happens is that the attic section of the building code no longer applies. You don't get to use the attic and crawl space exception to the thermal barrier requirement because access is beyond the service of utilities. So a thermal barrier would be required. You would have to use half-inch gypsum board as the prescribed thermal barrier or a material that allows you to omit the thermal barrier requirement, such as an intumescent coating system that passes the interior finish test requirements. This has been Robert Naini, your spray foam advisor and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. Thanks for checking this out and catch me on some more videos.
If you found this video helpful, then it would probably be valuable to your friends in the spray foam industry. So help us all out and send it to 3 or 4 people that you know. Additionally, if you have any questions, want info on a specific topic, or want to learn how Spray Foam Advisor might be able to help you or your business, you can email us at questions@sprayfoamadvisor.com. This has been Robert Naini, your Spray Foam Advisor and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. Thanks for checking this out and catch me on some more videos.